Well, tonight, most of Florida is bracing for their second major hurricane in just 2 weeks.
This is a live look at Sanibel Island. You can see the waves crashing onto the beach. Little wind blowing the palm trees right now. We are still more than 24 hours away from Hurricane Milton slamming into Florida, where it's expected to bring 15 feet of storm surge. Thanks for inviting us in. It's 5 o'clock. I'm Scott Swan in tonight for Anne Marie.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence. Time is running out for people in Florida to get out of Milton's path. Right now, it is a Category 4 hurricane bordering on a Category 5. Look at this. The heavy rain and strong winds it brought to Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula.
The videos we're showing you here are coming from a hotel in Cancun, Mexico early this morning. You can see lightning and heavy rain falling on the beach. And now people who live in or around the Tampa area are trying to secure their homes and businesses.
You can see the precautions they're taking on Madeira Beach right now. This is with the storm still hundreds of miles off the Gulf Coast. And 1 million people are being told to get out of the storm's path.
And our Samantha Johnson talked to some of those Hoosiers who are facing evacuation. Sam?
Yeah, we've heard from so many Hoosiers who are in Central Florida right now. Many of them have evacuated. Others have decided to stay for what could be one of the most catastrophic storms in recent memory.
Right now, mandatory evacuations are in effect across Florida's Gulf Coast, including in Bradenton, where Sean Heinen from Indy just finished 8 hours of storm preps on his new home.
I taped all the doors off and put sandbags on all the door entries. I picked up everything in the house on the first floor.
Tonight, Heinen is on the road, leaving his home behind, headed to safety in Naples, and not taking any chances after Hurricane Helene.
But this one looks to be a direct hit, unfortunately. So
Morgan Ashley is from Carmel. She's lived in Sarasota for 6 years now. Helene didn't damage her apartment, but she's not taking any chances with Milton.
I stocked up on water, pots of water, the bathtub full.
In Sarasota, like other parts of the state, gas is becoming a major concern.
There really hasn't been any gas since, I think, Monday morning.
Ashley isn't in an evacuation zone, so she decided to stay.
The traffic on the highway is so bad going north that I don't want to get stuck on the highway and stranded.
Meanwhile, northeast of Tampa,
trying to document what the house looks like.
Susie Smith is a professor at Ball State who flew into Florida over the weekend to check on a property.
Hurricane shutters are down.
But her flight home out of Tampa was canceled.
By then you couldn't find a flight.
So she drove.
And proceeded to evacuate with the rest of Florida on I-75 North.
All the way to Atlanta. The typically 7.5-hour drive took nearly twice as long. But Smith knows with Hurricane Milton barreling through the Gulf, it's just the beginning.
I'm lucky. No matter what happens, I'm going to have a home to go to tonight.
We are certainly thinking about all the folks in Central Florida tonight. Listen, if you have family or friends who are there, we want to remind you, Tampa Airport now closed. Sarasota Bradenton Airport now closed. The Orlando Airport, they are stopping commercial flights tomorrow morning at 8. So anyone who still needs help, anyone who might still be stuck there trying to leave, is asked to contact your airline directly.
Yeah, good advice. Samantha Johnson, thanks so much. Well, those closures that Sam just mentioned, boy, they're going to have a huge ripple effect across the country.
Look at the screens. This is what we're seeing right now, and we're talking hundreds of canceled flights and even more delayed at some of the biggest airports nationwide. Now, some are still on time, though, right now, but that's likely to change. And we're, of course, tracking things closer to home as well as for what the impact is with Indianapolis as well.
Landfall still coming tomorrow night?
Yes, late tomorrow night, very early Thursday morning. We get an update at 5 o'clock. So this is now back up to a Category 5 hurricane.
Okay.
And we notice a little bit of a shift to the south in terms of the latest track. So I'm going to walk you through the new information from the National Hurricane Center that came in just minutes ago. Winds are now up to 165 miles per hour. The position just north of Cancun, and it continues over the warm, open waters of the Gulf of Mexico. It is expected to continue to be this Category 5 for the next several hours before perhaps weakening a bit to a 4, then to a 3 as it gets ready to make landfall. This is the new track from the National Hurricane Center. This time tomorrow, we expect it to be down just a bit to a Category 4 and then expected to make landfall, thinking around 2 a.m. Thursday as a Category 3, perhaps just to the south of Tampa. That's the shift we're seeing, but then still a Category 1 hurricane as it moves across the state of Florida. They're going to be dealing with tropical storm force winds as early tomorrow morning as the outer bands start to move closer to the west coast of Florida. In addition to tracking the winds, we're tracking that rainfall potential that in a lot of locations, especially across the northern sections of the state, may exceed a foot of rain. This is forecast rainfall as we head through the next couple of days. More on this and our local forecast in a few minutes.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit, Angela. Thanks. Indiana Task Force 1 now preparing to help people in Florida again.
They first left Indiana 2 weeks ago to help in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. They were in Florida for a few days before they were reassigned to North Carolina, where they've been assisting in search and rescues in the western part of the state.
Nearly 100 members of the task force are currently deployed. And the federal government now fighting a lot of misinformation about their response to Hurricane Helene.
We're going to share the extra step they're taking to address concerns now that Milton's on the way in about 10 minutes. And tonight, the Center Township Constable saga is finally coming to an end here in Marion County. This morning, Denise Paul Hatch pleaded guilty to multiple charges after facing 4 separate cases.
Our Marion County reporter Lauren Kostick tonight shares how we got here and what this all means for this elected position.
Well, Denise Hatch is no longer allowed to serve here as the Center Township Constable. That's because she is now considered a convicted felon after this morning's plea agreement. It's a story we have been following since she was first arrested back in February. That's when a special prosecutor filed 2 separate cases against her, accusing her of stealing broccoli from a grocery store and attempting to interfere in the arrest of one of her deputy constables. She was then rearrested twice over the summer for violating court orders and getting into a disagreement with the township trustee. Today, she pleaded guilty to 3 charges, including a felony for official misconduct, which means her badge is now revoked. And we are told that Hatch is being credited for time served and is being let out of jail later today. Also at 6, hear from her attorney and why he believes that this plea agreement is the best case scenario. In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
All right, in developing tonight, Indianapolis fire investigators have determined that someone set several vacant houses on fire.
Yeah, this is an update to the story we brought you yesterday on 13 News at 5 o'clock. So investigators have now identified a person of interest in those fires that broke out on Hamilton Avenue near Michigan Street and Rural Street. Someone set them on fire around 1 o'clock Monday morning.
Then, a couple hours later, firefighters responded to another vacant house fire on North College Avenue near East 21st Street. They do not have any suspects identified in this fire, and they have not determined if it's connected to the ones on Hamilton Avenue. And it is the first day for Hoosiers to cast their ballot.
Early voting created long lines over at the City County building here in downtown Indianapolis. We've got Emily Longacre, who's been talking to Hoosiers all day at the polls.
And Emily, a lot of people we know wanted to cast their vote well before November 5th. It came out today.
Yeah, they sure did here on day one. You know, the polls just closed about 8 minutes ago. The Marion County clerk telling us that over 1,200 people cast their ballots today. You can see things kind of just wrapping up here. The last few people that came in the door right before 5 got in there and they cast their ballots. A lot of people told us today that they feel like this election is the most important of their lifetime.
I voted. Yes.
Got to get it done. Laura Teagarden and her wife Betsy couldn't wait to vote. It's a big day for them for a few reasons. Both voted in hopes of electing the first woman president of the United States. But they've got an even bigger reason for voting the first chance they could. Tonight, the couple is having their first baby.
Well, we are getting induced today.
And once the baby's born, who knows what kind of time they'll have.
Just scared for our future, even before we knew we were going to have kids. And now it's just more important, even so, not protecting just ourselves and our marriage, but our children.
I always get excited when I come to vote because
I get emotional.
The voting experience never loses its meaning for Adam Wilson, who grew up in Cuba.
Growing up abroad, voting rights are not the same.
Wilson was up at 4 a.m. this morning to be one of the first through the door here.
I tell everybody to vote, no matter what they think, they should vote. That is a right that we have and a civic duty.
I flew in from California.
David Michael Carrillo lives in Indy, but was out of town for work. He's had to cast his ballot absentee before. Not this time.
I woke up with the purpose I was going to get here no matter what, no matter if the line was long, I was going to get here to vote.
Their stories and reasons for voting early, all different. Their purpose, though, the same, to have a voice in their country's future. For Laura Teagarden and her wife Betsy, that future will soon be about more than just them. In just a few hours, it'll be about their child's future, too.
I mean, obviously, being a mom is going to be first and foremost, but part of being a mom is protecting your kid. And that means doing your civic duty, too.
Yeah, more than 1,200 people doing their civic duty here today on day one of early voting. A lot of families came out today. Take a look. This mom has her 3 little daughters, and they're wearing shirts. I don't know if you can see them, but they say right now, I wish I could vote. So you saw a lot of just things like that, people making this kind of a family experience. So up through Election Day, people getting a chance to bring their kids, bring their family, show them part of the democratic process and do their civic duty here in early voting. Scott, Felicia.
All right, getting the civic duty done. Thank you so much, Emily Longnecker. And we've got the information that you need to know if you're planning to vote early on our website.
Yeah, just check out WTHR.com/elections.